All right, let's take a look at this woman who has some very good things and makes some very important points.
To be honest, I think the biggest regret was initially, looking outside of my budget, looking outside of what I know I can afford on a daily basis, looking above what would be comfortable for me because I wanted to satisfy the idea of the type of house that I want instead of getting what I could afford at first.
So important that you understand this. If you have decent credit and decent income, there's a really good chance that the pre-approval you receive from a mortgage company is going to be for way more than you might really want to spend. So in reality, it's so important to crunch the numbers and look at that payment and know what you're looking at is within your payment budget.
But I end up buying a house less than 200,000. But the houses that I were looking at originally, because I was pre-approved for them, did not mean I can afford them. Go back. Yes, you can be pre-approved for a house you cannot afford. Okay, so
Right.
I think my biggest regret in home buying was looking at the top of my budget at the beginning and not being more smart with what I could afford. Because when it came down to it, and they're showing me a $2,000 mortgage, and I'm looking at my man like, is this what we want? Like, you.
I don't think it's a regret. She's calling it a regret. I think she's actually super smart because after shopping for a little while, she realized, hey, wait a second. This is a pretty cool house, but the payment is what? And that even though she was qualified to purchase it, she realized that it didn't make financial sense for her and her partner.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, definitely not. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I pay that in rent. Good for you. I'm glad you love that. But in this household, we like to live comfortable because we want to travel. We want to be able to, hey, one of us fall off and there's not two incomes. We can still afford what we have. You get what I'm saying? Like, can we afford that and still take our vacations? Can we afford that and still stack up our money like we do each check?
So smart, right? Live within your means. Everybody wants the big house on the hill, but in reality, you don't really need it. So she's looking at her life and saying, hey, man, I don't want to be house poor. And I love it.
Like, we want to make sure we're comfortable 24/7. If something breaks in the house, can we go to the bank and get money out to get it fixed? That's the way our mindset is.
Yeah, her mindset is super right because not when things will break, it's no, not if things will break, it's when things will break because they always do. A house has a lot of moving parts and there are things that need to be fixed.
Like, I know everybody is different. And so we had to keep in consideration, like, this is the first house, not the forever house. And we'll get what we want in the future. And right now, this is the first investment. So under 200,000 is the way to go sometimes. And sometimes you have to look below your budget.
Not sometimes. I think you should always be looking below your budget. Really smart. And here's an interesting statistic. It's her first house, right? In reality, statistically, we live in our first home or as a first time buyer for 5 to 8 years. Even though you may think you're going to live there longer, 5 to 8 years is the statistic on average.
Live below your means. That's one thing I wish I would have did at the beginning. Don't look for a house that's 280,000. Look for something that's under 200,000. Get what you can afford, not what you want.
So it took her a little while to realize what her actual practical budget was in terms of a payment. And after, I guess, shopping for a little while, she realized, you know what? I don't need to be here. This is where I want to be because she sleeps a lot better at night because of that. Thanks for watching.